You have an enormous body of work. You have been in a lot of stuff, both TV, stage, radio, film.
Yes.
You are an award-winning painter. You are the very image of a modern Renaissance man. My question for you is, out of all the ways that you have contributed to the visual arts, in some cases the audio arts, what do you find the most fulfilling? I've seen that you've written, directed, produced stage. You've obviously acted a lot.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've had my work produced in New York. I've had it produced at the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. When I was very, very young, something happened that maybe it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but things happen. Originally I went to the Art Students League for a while. I was focusing on my painting, but I had been an actor since I was 14 or 15, and they had apprenticeships then, where you apprenticed 2 years with a professional company, which I did from a company in Boston, Liberty Mutual Hall. You may remember Al Capp, the cartoonist.
Of course.
And Lee Falk, who created The Phantom.
Sure.
And so forth and so on. They were the people that owned the theater. And I auditioned for them when I think I was about 16. I think it was going into my junior year in high school. I can't remember. And I got an apprenticeship, which meant that I cleaned out the toilet, got coffee for people, was the assistant to the assistant stage manager, went to class, blah, 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 blah. And the following year, at the end of the season, they gave you a part if they felt. And that got you into the union, small parts. But you were still a junior member. Mm-hmm. Then you did another 2 years, you became a principal member of the Actors Equity Association. And I only bring that up because most of the actors, they aren't trained. They don't want to do the work to learn the certain skills and techniques. The only reason you study acting is so you can really find out who you are and put yourself into a part as best you can. There are so many people coming out of Yale and Carnegie and Northwestern that are very, very good. Similar, in what they do, and there are certain people that break out of that particular educational mode or that academic way of acting. The same when you deal with the academic world in painting. If I see that there's an academic person judging or curating an art show, I don't submit anything. Because most people like people that paint photographs. I'm an abstract impressionist artist, I'm a sculptor, and I do work with large metal pieces. And I'm only saying all this because I did focus when I first started, but I broadened my focus to co-produce in New York, or to write, or to act. And the reason I did these things was the first 5 or 6 years, in order not to starve, you had to put your capabilities. Plus I had part-time jobs to keep me alive. I had a $19 a month apartment in Alphabet City, and I was the happiest camper in the world. And slowly and slowly and slowly, then I started doing live television, but I did under fives. They wouldn't give you more than 5 lines, maybe 1 or 2 lines. And then when they got to know you, they'd increase it. And the same on and off Broadway. So you actually had an apprenticeship, and you gained skills as an actor. And you not only gain those sort of skills, but you also gain backstage skills, like painting scenery, building scenery, doing the press by getting out there and getting posters in stores and in communities, looking out for the stars that came through certain theaters, whatever to attend to them, what they wanted, what they needed. And some of them helped you, gave you tips, had a little class. People with, I was fortunate, everybody remembers him as the man who did The Invisible Man, Claude Rains.
Sure.
I was fortunate, he came in a play to the Boston Summer Theater for 2 weeks. And he was a marvelous man, and he saw us in a class and so forth and so on. And he said, well, I used to teach, I'll come by maybe 2 or 3 times during the show if you'd like. And the teacher, the coach said certainly. So he would come by, and he would help us. And I didn't find out till later that he was John Gielgud's teacher. You know, and he had started with Suburban Tree, and these are probably people that a lot of the audience watching aren't going to know who they are. Sometimes I think you have to be obsessed, you know, because you have to have an ego, and you're going to be working with bigger egos. But the only way you can, in my business, if you're locked in a room for 4 to 6 weeks with a play, or if you're on sound stage, there are some people that'll chew you right up. So you have to build your ego, you have to build your self-centeredness, and you have to be terribly selfish in order to succeed. You have to be obsessed. And if you don't have those abilities, you know, go back to camp. But you can still be a good person. You can still be a good person. Even with those things that might be ugly, you can be a good father, a good husband. You can be a good friend. But as soon as your antenna goes up, you know when you're being taken advantage of. You know if you're being, you know, humiliation. Humiliation is a big thing for actors starting out. Rejection is a big thing. It kills them. Some of the finest actors I know, I started with in New York, they left. And a lot of them went and got their masters and their PhD. They went and they headed university places, etc. They came back into the theater. They got their tenure, they got their pension, and they're back in. But it's not a friendly business. You have to learn how to survive in it.